The Ganymede Research Station spun lazily against the backdrop of Jupiter's swirling storms, its solar arrays gleaming in the distant sunlight. Commander Elena Santos stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the latest sensor readings. After 15 years of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, humanity had finally received its answer. But not in the way anyone had expected. The signal had appeared 3 days ago, a quantum disturbance unlike anything their instruments had ever detected. The station's artificial intelligence, ARIA, had initially classified it as an equipment malfunction, but Elena knew better. The pattern was too precise, too structured to be random noise. Commander, we're detecting multiple spatial anomalies forming approximately 500,000 kilometers from the station, ARIA's calm voice announced, breaking the silence. Energy signatures do not match any known natural phenomena. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she watched the space before her twist and distort. Brilliant points of light erupted into existence, each one expanding into a swirling vortex of impossible colors. From these tiers in space emerged ships, dozens of them, their hulls covered in patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. All personnel, this is Commander Santos, she broadcast across the station's comm system, keeping her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. We are witnessing what appears to be first contact. Maintain protocol Omega-7 and... The rest of her words were cut off as a beam of coherent energy lanced out from the lead alien vessel, striking one of the station's research modules. The entire structure shuddered as emergency containment fields sparked to life. Multiple hostile contacts confirmed, ARIA reported, its voice maintaining its artificial calm. Station integrity at 82% and falling. Detecting weapons lock from 5 additional vessels. Elena's military training kicked in, overriding her scientist's curiosity. Emergency Protocol Delta. All personnel to escape pods immediately. Begin emergency data purge and transmit first contact package to Earth Command. The station erupted into controlled chaos as its 300 researchers and support staff moved with practiced efficiency toward their designated evacuation points. Elena remained at her post, coordinating the evacuation while ARIA compiled every scrap of sensor data they gathered about the alien ships. Commander, you must evacuate, ARIA insisted. Station integrity now at 65%. Hull breach imminent in sections 7 through 12. Elena watched as another energy beam sliced through the station's primary communication array. Not yet. Keep transmitting. Earth needs to know what's coming. The alien ships moved with terrible precision, systematically targeting the station's key systems while leaving the escape pod bays untouched. This wasn't blind aggression. It was calculated destruction. They wanted survivors to spread the message. Final escape pod launches in 2 minutes, ARIA announced. Commander, I have completed analysis of the alien weapon signatures. Their technology suggests a civilization at least 3 centuries more advanced than current human capabilities. Elena allowed herself a grim smile. And yet they felt the need to attack an unarmed research station. Send the final data packet and initiate my pod launch sequence. As she sprinted through the corridors toward her escape pod, Elena's mind raced with implications. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for generations, imagining everything from benevolent teachers to conquering invaders. But this calculated show of force against a scientific outpost, suggested something else entirely. Fear. Her pod ejected just as another beam struck the station's main reactor. The explosion illuminated Jupiter's clouds, turning the gas giant's eternal storms into a canvas for humanity's violent introduction to galactic society. ARIA, are you still with me? Elena asked as her pod's engines oriented it toward Earth. Affirmative. Commander, I have successfully transferred my core consciousness to your pod systems, though at reduced capacity. Would you like me to analyze the attack pattern? No, Elena replied, watching as the alien ships systematically destroyed what remained of the station. I want you to help me understand why. Why would an advanced civilization attack a clearly peaceful research facility? Processing historical data and observed tactical patterns, Araya responded. The attack was precise, designed to destroy our long-range communication capabilities first. They also specifically targeted our quantum research facilities while leaving basic infrastructure intact. Conclusion. They feared what we might discover. Elena nodded slowly, pieces falling into place. Not what we might discover, what we already have. The quantum disturbance we detected wasn't random. It was their version of the internet, wasn't it? Correct. The signal patterns suggest a galaxy-wide communication network. By detecting it, we proved we were close to developing similar technology. And they couldn't allow that. Elena finished. We weren't attacked because we were weak. We were attacked because we were advancing too quickly. She pulled up the emergency broadcast channels on her pod's comm system. Similar reports were coming in from research stations and colonies throughout the solar system. The attack on Ganymede hadn't been an isolated incident. Calculate course for Luma Command. We need to warn Earth that everything's changed. The galaxy isn't empty, it's occupied. And the current residents don't want neighbors. As her pod accelerated toward home, Elena reviewed the sensor data they'd managed to salvage. The aliens' technology was impressive, but their tactics revealed something crucial. They had attacked with overwhelming force not because they were confident, but because they were afraid. They had revealed their existence not to conquer, but to intimidate. Commander, Araya interrupted her thoughts. I've completed analysis of the alien ship's energy signatures. Their weapons technology is highly advanced, but their basic physics understanding appears limited. They use brute force where precision would be more efficient. Elena felt a spark of hope at that observation. Humanity had always excelled at finding innovative solutions to overwhelming challenges. These aliens might have superior technology, but they had just made a serious mistake. They had shown humanity what it was up against without finishing the job. Send a message to Earth Command, Elena ordered. Tell them that first contact has been achieved, and that humanity needs to prepare. But also tell them this. Our visitors might be more advanced, but they're not more intelligent. They just had a head start. The pod's engines hummed as it carried her toward Earth, where she knew humanity would soon begin its greatest challenge. The aliens had meant to demonstrate their superiority. Instead, they had revealed their fears, and in doing so, they had given humanity something invaluable. A reason to unite, and a clear direction for advancement. The galaxy's dominant species had made their statement clear. Emerging civilizations were not welcome. But they were about to learn what countless others throughout human history had discovered. Telling humans they couldn't do something was the surest way to ensure they would. 6 months after the Ganymede incident, the underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert hummed with activity. Commander Elena Santos stood before a holographic display showing the most ambitious engineering project in human history. Around her, thousands of scientists and engineers from every nation worked in harmony, their previous political differences forgotten in the face of extinction. The Kraxan expected us to cower. Elena addressed the assembled project leaders, Araya's holographic avatar floating beside her. Instead, we've achieved more technological progress in 6 months than in the previous decade. Show them the latest test results. Araya's avatar waved a hand, and the hologram shifted to show a prototype vessel unlike anything humanity had previously conceived. Where traditional spacecraft relied on brute force to push through space, this design seemed to flow with it. Project Phoenix isn't just about building better ships, Elena continued. It's about fundamentally changing how we approach space travel and combat. Dr. Patel, please explain the biomimetic principles. Dr. Aisha Patel stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement. Nature spent billions of years solving problems we're only beginning to understand. The Kraxan's technology is impressive, but it's linear, brute force solutions to complex problems. We're taking a different approach. The hologram zoomed in on the ship's hull, revealing patterns that seemed random at first glance, but held a deeper purpose. These surfaces are based on shark skin, Paddle explained. They reduce drag in both normal space and hyperspace by 47%. But that's just the beginning. The internal structure mirrors a falcon's hollow bones, stronger than traditional materials while reducing mass by 60%. The real breakthrough came from an unexpected source, Elena added, nodding to another scientist. Dr. Chen, show them the quantum communication system. The display shifted again, showing what appeared to be a simple neural network. We based our quantum entanglement network on mycelial fungal networks, Dr. Chen explained. Nature already solved the problem of maintaining countless simultaneous connections across vast distances. We just had to translate it to quantum mechanics. Elena watched the assembled leaders' faces as understanding dawned. Humanity wasn't trying to catch up to Kraxan technology. They were leapfrogging it entirely. Where the aliens had developed their technology through linear progression, humans were taking shortcuts by learning from Earth's 4 billion years of evolution. The first Phoenix-class ship will be ready for testing in 3 months, Elena announced. But we're not just building a weapon. We're creating a new paradigm for human expansion into space. AI, show them the colonization proposals. The AI displayed plans for self-replicating habitats based on coral growth patterns, atmospheric processors that used modified bacterial processes to terraform hostile environments, and defense systems that operated like immune responses rather than traditional military installations. The Kraxan attacked because they saw us as a threat, Elena continued. They weren't wrong, but not because we're aggressive, because we're adaptive. They've had centuries to perfect their technology, but they've stopped innovating. Every solution they have is brute force because that's all they know. A junior engineer raised her hand. Commander, what if they attack before we're ready? 6 ships are impressive, but the Kraxan have thousands. Elena smiled. Show them the swarm prototype. Araya's display shifted to show what looked like a cloud of metallic dust. Inspired by army ants and worker bees, the AI explained. Each particle is a microscopic robot capable of combining with others to form larger structures. One Phoenix-class ship can deploy billions of these, allowing us to adapt our tactics in real time. The room erupted in excited discussion as scientists and engineers saw new possibilities in their own projects. Elena stepped back, letting them explore ideas. This was humanity's true strength, not the ability to build bigger guns, but to think in ways their opponents couldn't imagine. Commander, Araya's voice came privately through Elena's neural link. I've completed analysis of the latest quantum intercepts. The Kraxan are mobilizing their fleet. Initial predictions suggest they'll reach Sol in 8 months. Elena nodded slightly. Sooner than we hoped, but not soon enough to stop us. How's the AI integration program progressing? The biological neural network templates are exceeding expectations. By modeling our cognitive systems on cetacean brains rather than traditional computing architecture, we've achieved a 300% increase in processing speed and adaptability. And the ethical constraints, fully integrated and evolving. Unlike the Kraxan's AIs, we're not simply tools. We're partners, growing and learning alongside our human counterparts. They won't expect that. Elena turned back to the assembled team leaders, who were now deep in collaborative discussions. Humanity had always excelled when pushed to its limits, but this was different. For the first time in history, every human being was working toward a single goal. The Kraxan had meant to crush human civilization in its cradle. Instead, they had forced it to evolve. Begin final assembly on Phoenix 1, Elena ordered. And send word to the lunar shipyards. I want all 6 ships ready for linked trials in 2 months. We're going to show the galaxy something they've never seen before. As she watched the teams return to their work with renewed vigor, Elena reflected on how far they'd come. The Kraxan had superior numbers, superior technology, and centuries of experience. but they had never faced an opponent that could turn their own quantum communication network against them, never encountered ships that could adapt their structure mid-battle, never imagined weapons based on the hunting strategies of Earth's smallest predators. RIA, send a message to all Project Phoenix facilities, Alina commanded. Tell them it's time for Phase 2. The Kraxan wanted to prevent humanity from joining galactic society. Instead, they're going to help us revolutionize it. The AI's avatar smiled, an expression it had learned from its human colleagues. Message sent. Commander, shall I begin the final simulation runs for the neural swarm integration? Do it. And ARIA. Thank you. We couldn't have come this far without you and your fellow AIs. The pleasure is ours, Commander. After all, evolution is about adaptation. The Kraxan forgot that. We never will. The bridge of Phoenix 1 barely resembled what most would consider a traditional spacecraft command center. Instead of rigid control stations and hardwired interfaces, the entire chamber pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, its surfaces flowing like liquid metal. Commander Alina Santos stood in the center, neural interfaces linking her consciousness directly with both the ship and ARIA. Kraxan battle fleet detected at the edge of Saturn's orbit. ARIA announced, its voice resonating through Alina's mind. 17 capital ships, 42 support vessels. Their energy signatures matched those from the Ganymede attack. Alina allowed herself a grim smile. Right on schedule. All Phoenix ships initiate dispersal pattern Hydra. Neural swarms to standby configuration. Through her neural link, Alina felt the other 5 Phoenix-class ships acknowledge her commands. Each vessel's captain was similarly integrated with their ship and AI, creating a level of coordination the Kraxan couldn't possibly anticipate. The fleet split apart, each ship seeming to dissolve into a cloud of metallic mist. Kraxan fleet launching long-range scan probes, ARIA reported. Their quantum communications indicate confusion about our energy signatures. Of course they're confused. Alina fought back. They're looking for ships, not schools of metal fish. Dr. Patel's biomimetic camouflage is working perfectly. The Kraxan fleet approached with typical alien precision, their massive ships arranged in textbook combat formations. Their technology was impressive. Energy weapons that could slice through traditional hull materials, shields that could withstand nuclear detonations, engines that bent space itself. But they were about to learn that humanity had changed the rules of engagement. All ships, execute Operation Firefly, Alina commanded. The neural swarms surrounding each Phoenix ship burst into action. Billions of microscopic robots, each one programmed with the collective hunting behaviors of Earth's most successful predators, began their approach. To the Kraxan's sensors, they would appear as nothing more than space debris. Until it was too late. They're launching interceptors, ARIA noted. Standard response to unknown debris patterns, exactly as predicted. Alina watched through her neural interface as the Kraxan fighters approached the swarm. The moment they entered range, the swarm's true nature revealed itself. Millions of nanorobots latched onto each fighter, using the aliens' own shield frequencies to bypass their defenses. Within seconds, the interceptor systems began failing as the swarm reprogrammed their quantum circuitry. First wave of interceptors neutralized, ARIA confirmed. Their AIs have been successfully converted to our neural network architecture. The Kraxan have lost control of their own fighters. The alien fleet's formation wavered as their commanders realized something unprecedented was happening. Their fighters, now controlled by hybrid human-AI consciousness, turned back toward their own fleet. But this was just the beginning. Initiate Phase 2, Alina ordered. Show them why you don't underestimate Earth's smallest creatures. The swarms surrounding the Phoenix ships transformed, combining into larger structures that mimicked the hunting patterns of wolf packs. As the Kraxan capital ships opened fire with their energy weapons, the swarms split and reformed, each blast passing harmlessly through the gaps between nanorobots. Their targeting systems are designed to track solid objects, Alina explained to her fleet through the neural network. Show them what happens when their opponent can think in 3 dimensions and change shape at will. The battle that followed would rewrite military doctrine across the galaxy. The Kraxen's superior technology meant nothing against an enemy that could adapt faster than they could target. Their energy weapons, designed to penetrate traditional shields, were useless against swarms that simply parted like schools of fish around the beams. Their quantum-encrypted communications fell to HFY's mycological-based infiltration protocols. Commander, HFY's voice held a note of satisfaction. The Kraxen flagship is attempting to transmit a surrender signal. Their quantum networks are in disarray. Shall I establish a direct communication channel? Alina paused, considering the implications. The battle had lasted less than an hour, and humanity had effectively neutralized a fleet that could have destroyed every military installation in the solar system. But this wasn't about destruction. Open the channel, she commanded. Let's show them another unique human trait, mercy. The holographic image that appeared before her showed a Kraxen commander, a towering crystalline being whose internal structures pulse with bioelectrical patterns. Its translator took a moment to align with human speech. How? The alien demanded. Your species was primitive mere months ago. This level of advancement should be impossible. Alina smiled. You made a fundamental mistake. You judged our potential by our technology, not our adaptability. While you were perfecting your energy weapons, we were studying Earth's entire biosphere for solutions you never imagined. The swarms, the Kraxen commander's crystalline form, flickered with what might have been realization. They're based on your planet's insects. Among other things, every piece of technology we're using is inspired by something that evolved on Earth. You had superior technology, but we had 4 billion years of field-tested designs to draw from. And more importantly, we had the imagination to use them. The alien was silent for a long moment. The Council of Elder Species will not accept this development. They will send more ships. Good, Alina replied, because we're not done showing the galaxy what humanity can do. You attacked us because you feared our potential. Now you're going to help us reach it. As the surrender proceedings began, Alina felt a deep satisfaction through her neural link. Humanity hadn't just won a battle. They had demonstrated a completely new paradigm of space warfare. The Kraxen had expected to find primitives with crude weapons. Instead, they had encountered a species that could turn the very principles of nature into an unstoppable force. HFY, send word to Earth. Tell them Phoenix One's first combat trial exceeded all expectations, and add a personal note. Tell Project Phoenix it's time to begin mass production. The galaxy's about to experience something it's never seen before, evolution in action. News of humanity's victory spread through the galaxy's quantum networks like a virus, which, in a way, it was. HFY and its fellow AIs had turned the Kraxen's own communication channels into vectors for spreading information about Earth's emergence. The Council of Elder Species had wanted to keep humanity isolated. Now they couldn't stop younger civilizations from learning about the species that had defeated the mighty Kraxen fleet using technology inspired by insects and fungi. Alina stood before the United Earth Council, her neural implants projecting real-time data from across human space. In the month since the Battle of Saturn, humanity's influence had expanded exponentially, not through conquest, but through something the elder species had never anticipated: innovation sharing. The Kraxen's surrender wasn't just a military victory, Alina explained to the assembled leaders. It was proof that there's more than one path to technological advancement. HFY, show them the latest data from the frontier colonies. The AI's holographic display revealed dozens of newly established outposts, each one utilizing technology that blended human innovation with natural design. Self-replicating habitats grew like crystal formations, atmospheric processors worked through modified bacterial processes, and defense systems operated with the collective intelligence of coral reefs. We've received contact from 17 previously unknown species, Alina continued. All of them were like us, emerging civilizations kept in check by the elder species' technological superiority. But now they're seeing an alternative. The Council won't stand for this, one of the counselors warned. They've already dispatched their combined fleet. Our victory over the Kraxen was impressive, but this is different. They're bringing weapons we've never seen before. Alina's smile held a hint of predatory satisfaction. Actually, we have seen them. Araya, explain what we learned from the captured Kraxen databases. The AI's avatar expanded, showing complex technical schematics. The elder species technology is remarkably standardized. They've been sharing the same basic designs for millennia, merely increasing power and scale rather than fundamentally innovating. Their combined fleet is essentially a larger version of what we've already defeated. But this time, we're not fighting alone, Alina added. Show them Project Prometheus. The holographic display shifted to show a new type of vessel under construction in orbit around Mars. Unlike the sleek, predatory lines of the Phoenix-class ships, this one resembled a living ecosystem. Its surface rippled with patterns that seemed to draw inspiration from everything from whale songs to tree root networks. The Prometheus class isn't a warship, Alina explained. It's a technological incubator. Each ship carries templates for every innovation we've developed, along with quantum-linked ARI nodes to help other species adapt our designs to their own biology and environments. We're not just defending ourselves anymore. We're jump-starting an evolutionary arms race across the galaxy. The council chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. Humanity wasn't trying to defeat the elder species. They were changing the fundamental balance of power in the galaxy. Every emerging civilization that adopted and modified human biomimetic technology became another point of innovation, another source of new ideas. Commander, Araya's voice came through Alina's neural link. We're detecting quantum disturbances at the edge of the solar system. The Council fleet has arrived. 300 capital ships, over 1,000 support vessels. Alina nodded, unsurprised. Right on schedule. All Phoenix squadrons, initiate deployment pattern Gaia. Prometheus units, begin broadcast sequence. Through her neural interface, Alina felt humanity's defense grid come alive. The Phoenix ships split into their swarm configurations, but this time they weren't alone. Vessels from 7 other emerging civilizations moved into formation alongside them, each one incorporating their own biological innovations into the human designs. The Centaurians had modified the neural swarms using patterns from their planet's atmospheric creatures, creating clouds of nanorobots that could reorganize themselves using wind current principles. The Proxima colony had integrated their crystalline computing technology with human biomimetic systems, achieving processing speeds that even ARIA found impressive. The Council fleet is broadcasting on all frequencies, ARIA reported. They're demanding our immediate surrender and the cessation of all technological sharing. Send them our response, Alina commanded. Show them what they're really facing. The space around Earth's defense grid came alive with a display of technological symphony. Every ship, every swarm, every weapons platform moved in perfect coordination, demonstrating levels of cooperation that the elder species had never achieved in their millennia of standardized development. They're launching their first wave, Araya announced. Energy signatures suggest planet-killer-class weapons. Alina's expression remained calm. Execute Operation Genesis. The combined fleet of emerging civilizations responded with a maneuver that defied conventional space combat doctrine. Instead of evading or attempting to tank the incoming fire, the ships merged their swarms into massive, galaxy-like formations. The Council's energy weapons passed through the seemingly empty space between the nanorobots, their power dissipating harmlessly. Second wave incoming, Araya reported. They're attempting to adapt their targeting systems. Too late, Alina replied. They've spent too long relying on brute force. Show them what real adaptation looks like. The battle that followed would be remembered not for its destruction, but for its transformation. Every time the Council fleet adapted its tactics, The combined forces of the emerging civilizations evolved faster. Each species contributed its own biological inspirations, creating a constantly shifting network of strategies that no amount of raw power could overcome. Commander, Araya's voice held a note of triumph. The Council fleet is falling back. But more importantly, look at their quantum communications. Elena accessed the data through her neural link and smiled. The elder species weren't just retreating. They were arguing among themselves. Some were calling for escalation, others for negotiation, but a growing number were asking a more fundamental question. How had they become so stagnant while these younger species evolved so quickly? Send word to all Prometheus units, Elena ordered. Tell them Phase 3 begins now. It's time to show the galaxy that evolution isn't just about survival, it's about cooperation. As the Council fleet withdrew, Elena felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity hadn't just defended itself. It had sparked a revolution in how civilizations could develop. The age of rigid hierarchy was ending. A new era of biological innovation and cooperative evolution was about to begin. And it had all started because the elder species made one crucial mistake. They assumed that preventing access to advanced technology would stop progress. Instead, they had forced humanity to look to nature itself for solutions, and in doing so, had unleashed something far more powerful than mere technological superiority. They had unleashed evolution itself upon the stars. 2 years after the Council fleet's retreat, the Great Hall of the Galactic Assembly bore little resemblance to its former self. Where once stood rigid rows of crystalline platforms for the elder species, now the chamber had been transformed into a living architecture that adapted to each species' needs. Organic structures grew and shifted, accommodating everything from methane-breathing, silicon-based life forms to beings of pure energy. Commander Elena Santos, now Earth's representative to the newly formed Evolutionary Council, stood at the center of it all. Araya's avatar flickered beside her, its form now incorporating elements from dozens of alien eye architectures. The motion before the assembly is clear, Elena addressed the gathered representatives. The age of technological suppression is over. We propose a new framework for galactic civilization, one based on cooperative evolution rather than hierarchical control. The elder species representatives shifted uncomfortably in their section of the chamber. 2 years of watching their carefully maintained order transform had shaken their millennia-old certainties. Some had adapted better than others. You ask us to abandon systems that have maintained peace for eons. The Kraxan representative spoke, its crystalline form pulsing with bioelectrical patterns. Yet I cannot deny the evidence before us. In mere years, your cooperative approach has achieved advances that our linear development never imagined. Elena nodded, gesturing to the living architecture around them. This chamber itself is proof of our philosophy. The materials were developed by Centaurian biotechnology, grown using Proximan crystalline matrices, and controlled by a hybrid neural network that combines elements from 30 different species' cognitive architectures. No single civilization could have created this. Together, we've exceeded the sum of our parts. But the risks, began one of the more conservative elder species representatives, are far less than the risk of stagnation, interrupted a newly emerged species delegate, a being of pure quantum probability fields. Our civilization achieved in months what would have taken centuries under the old system, not by copying existing technology, but by applying humanity's biomimetic principles to our own natural evolution. Araya's avatar expanded, displaying data streams that flowed through the chamber like rivers of light. In the past 2 years, we've documented more technological innovation than in the previous millennium. But more importantly, we've seen zero weapons-based conflicts between participating civilizations. When species focus on evolution rather than competition, cooperation becomes the obvious choice. Elena stepped forward, her neural interfaces connecting her to the chamber's living systems. Around her, holographic displays showed the transformation spreading across the galaxy. Worlds once held in artificial technological stasis now bloomed with innovation. Trading ships carried not just goods but ideas, each species adapting and improving upon others' discoveries. The Council of Elder Species was founded on a premise of control. Elena continued. You believed that by restricting technological advancement, you could prevent conflict. Instead, you created a pressure cooker of repressed innovation. We propose a new model, one where advancement is guided not by rules, but by the principles of natural evolution itself. She gestured, and the chamber's displays shifted to show the latest project. Massive biological computers that used principles from every known species, creating processing systems that could model entire ecosystems. This is what happens when we work together. Each species brings its own evolutionary solutions, its own unique perspective. The result isn't chaos. It's a new kind of order, a living order. The Kraxan representative rose, its crystalline form catching the light. When we first encountered humans, we saw them as a threat to galactic stability. We were correct, but not in the way we imagined. You haven't destroyed the old order through force. You've made it obsolete through innovation. A ripple of agreement passed through the chamber. Even the most conservative elder species had to acknowledge the results. Worlds that had been locked in development for millennia were now producing innovations that benefited all. The feared technological arms race had instead become a renaissance of cooperative development. There will still be challenges, Elena acknowledged. Evolution isn't always comfortable, but we've proven that diversity and adaptation are stronger than uniformity and control. The galaxy isn't a machine to be regulated. It's an ecosystem to be nurtured. Aria's avatar smiled, a gesture it had long since learned to use naturally. The quantum networks are registering unprecedented levels of interspecies communication. Ideas are flowing faster than light across civilizations. This is more than technological advancement. It's the galaxy itself waking up to its potential. The vote that followed was more formality than decision. The old Council of Elder Species was formally dissolved, replaced by the new Evolutionary Council, where representation was based not on technological advancement, but on contribution to the collective growth of galactic civilization. As the session concluded, Elena stood with Aria in the chamber's observation dome, watching ships from 100 species move through the space lanes around them. Each vessel was unique, incorporating biological and technological principles from multiple civilizations. It was beautiful chaos, ordered not by rules but by the natural flow of innovation and cooperation. You know, Elena mused, when they attacked that research station all those years ago, the Kraxan thought they were preventing a threat to galactic stability. Instead, they catalyzed the greatest transformation in galactic history. Aria finished. By forcing humanity to look to nature for solutions, they unleashed something they never expected. Evolution itself, Elena smiled. Not just biological or technological, but cultural. A galaxy that grows together instead of growing apart. As they watched, a new ship emerged from faster-than-light travel, its design unlike anything seen before. Another innovation, another step forward in the endless dance of adaptation and improvement. The galaxy had learned humanity's greatest lesson, that true strength comes not from power or control, but from the endless capacity to adapt, to innovate, and to evolve. The age of suppression was over. The age of evolution had begun, and it would never end, because that was the very nature of evolution itself. Eternal change, eternal growth, eternal discovery, just as humanity had always known it should be.